Luke 10, visiting. To describe my feelings right now, it would not be different from the feelings of a broken-hearted person, someone whose love life was cut short, or someone whose boyfriend was taken away. But it was stupid to sit here and mourn. All I could do was go back to work in the emergency room to erase the bad feelings in my heart. There were 3 days left before Doll asked Mai to be his girlfriend, and 4 days before Doll died. My relationship with Doll should have progressed further, but now everything I tried to build was destroyed. This was even worse than starting over. Doll did not read and reply to my chat. He hated me already. If I can't save the situation, I would have to wait until I saw Doll die again in order to go back and start over. But I did not want it to happen at all. Doll had to get hurt every time he had an accident and had his heart pumped. Seeing him hurt me. I came out of the emergency room this morning in the most dilapidated state. My face, my hair, and my mental state were all a mess. Last night, I worked like a mummified ghost. Now I really wanted to go back and hug Zebra, but I was not sure if the cat would be able to heal me this time. I turned right to go straight to the personal parking area, but after taking just 3 steps, it felt like I was walking on a rocking ship. I staggered and supported myself against the wall with my hands. I was shocked to be attacked with unprecedented symptoms. Maybe it was because I did not rest enough and was stressed. It would probably go away once I got some sleep. People like me never get sick. I was tougher than a horse and stronger than a rock. Nothing could make Tin fall. Before returning to the condominium, I decided to drive to the Faculty of Business Administration building. I stood silently, looking at the modern building in front of me. How many times have I been here? It was so frequent that I could almost count the number of tiles laid on the ground floor of the building. I let out a huge sigh of relief. I did not know why I was standing here to make myself feel worse. I just wanted to say goodbye to this place one more time before I let this loop reach its end before Doll left me again. Hello, doctor. A familiar voice greeted me, causing me to turn around. A beautiful woman in a student uniform was standing there, smiling at me. That's Mai. Hello. Thank God that I didn't accidentally say her name. I'm a friend of Tall, the one that you met that day. I'm not sure if you remember. Mai continued to talk to me with a smile on her face. Did you come to see Tall? Oh, I did not come to see Tall. I was just passing by. I raised the back of my hand and rubbed my nose with it. Then I get going now. Wait! Mai called, making me stop. Can you stay with me for a while? Yes. I turned to look at Mai, and what I saw shocked me quite a bit. Mai, who I knew was a confident young woman, but the expression she was showing right now was fear. Hey, is something wrong? Mai came closer to me. The man sitting under the tree behind me was my ex. He's been following me since I was at the faculty, she said softly. I'm sorry to disturb you. What do you want me to do? I looked at the tree behind her and saw many students sitting in that area. I did not know who Mai's ex-boyfriend was. Just staying here with me. Tall will be here to pick me up soon, but my ex-boyfriend followed me. I'm so scared. Mai looked up at me, pleading. This woman was so cute. A beautiful person like her could easily make a young man fall for her. Actually, I did not have a problem with staying here with Mai, but I did not want to face Doll. I definitely couldn't bear the eyes of Doll that would look at me with disgust. Do you have any other friends around here? It might be better if I walk you to your friends. I don't have any friends around here. Mai picked up the phone and looked at it. Doll said he'll be here in no more than 10 minutes. I stood still for about 10 seconds before speaking. I can stay here with you, but if Doll's close, tell me first. I would be able to escape from here before Doll could see me. Thank you, doctor. Mai had a relieved expression on her face. Sorry, I forgot. What's your name? Tin, I replied. Dr. Tin, I'm Mai. I knew. I have known for a long time now. I thought to myself, but didn't say it aloud. Yes, just 3 more days and Tal would become her boyfriend. These two must have been very close by now, right? I could only look at Mai, who kept looking at her phone and answered the chat quietly. I felt jealous of Mai, who was about to become a person who knows Doll's heart without having to put in any effort, unlike me, who had struggled countless times but ended up with Doll hating me, not even close to being a boyfriend at all. Didn't you have class this morning? I asked Mike, trying to ignore the pain I was feeling right now. I had a class at 10 o'clock. Doll had a class in the afternoon, so we agreed to go read a book together at the coffee shop. Mai answered. Did you not work today? I just got off duty this morning and will go back to sleep soon. I said to Mai, I said to make Mai feel guilty for holding me here, but she did not seem to feel anything. People cannot sacrifice all the time. I heard Doll's voice in my head. These were Doll's words the day we went to see the movies before his death. You were right. We, as humans, must have some selfishness. Mai, I said in a decisive tone, I can't stay here anymore. You go wait at a crowded place for your safety, okay? But Mai turned to look at where she said her ex boyfriend was sitting and quickly turned around. I'm scared. I have to be more determined. I have to go now. Good luck. Then he quickly took a long step out of there. This is a public space. Nothing would happen to Mai. I'm sure of it. If she was attacked, there were probably too many people who were ready to help her. As I walked back to my car, I suddenly realized something. Saul's life and death did not depend on whether I got to be his boyfriend or not, but it depended on Mai. All it took was Saul not being Mai's boyfriend and he would survive. As for me, I could be anything. It did not matter anymore. Screw this. I'd play the bad guy. Even though I was sad, it's better than doing nothing and waiting until Tol died again. I walked back to where Mai was standing and waiting. Not staying with Mai was a very terrible start. Mai may not want to talk to me anymore, but I did not care about Mai's opinions about me. What I was going to do was to show Tol that Mai was a woman that Tol shouldn't associate with. As I walked back to my destination, I saw Mai smiling at the person who was walking toward her. He was tall. He was dressed in a student shirt and jeans. Seeing this scene made me feel even more heartache. I clenched my fists and took a deep breath before speaking out loud. Mai! I held up my phone. Tall and Mai turned to look at me at the same time. I've accepted your friend request. I'll be messaging you this evening. Tall looked at me in shock. Mai too. If you were to hate me, then hate me at your fullest capacity. I tried not to look at Tall's face, quickly turned around and walked out as fast as possible. Hey, when people are heartbroken, will it hurt like a person whose heart doesn't receive enough blood? Are the nerves receiving the pain the same one? Gap asked me while I was looking at the shift schedule in the resident room. What a nonsense question. I grumbled to Gap. Are you heartbroken? No, people like Gap are never heartbroken. Only ever broke others' hearts. Ouch. Gap shrugged at me, causing me to slap his head slightly because of pure annoyance. Go to work now. It's still a long night. I walked out of the residence room and headed straight to the emergency room. To be honest, I still did not feel very normal, even though I had slept the whole night. The feeling of trembling continued to prevail, especially while standing. I believed I knew what it was. I was a doctor and diagnosed myself with the symptom of too little rest and stress accumulated since the previous loops. It should not be a hindrance to today's work. Hey! Here came my first case on the shift. A young extern holding a chart ran up to me. Can I consult a case, please? Go on, kid. I turned to smile at the extern. 30-year-old woman, came here with a dog biting her right leg at 10 o'clock. It is a wound with a bleeding, but the patient had injected around the wound 3 years ago. A complete course of rabies vaccination. I'm not sure how to vaccinate this time. What do you think you should do? I asked. Hmm, since like there is no need to inject around the wound, right? Yes, but you still have to give the patient the stimulation vaccine. If the last dose was injected over 6 months ago, you must give the patient twice a day and on the third day. Don't forget to prescribe a disinfectant for the patient as well. Okay, he replied enthusiastically and walked back to the patient. It was at the same moment that a new patient was being pushed in. I dashed over to the new patient, who had been labeled yellow in triage. Suddenly, the entire world spun around. Then everything went dark as if someone had turned off the lights. Tin was a strong child. He had never been in the hospital once. This was something my mother always bragged about to her friends. Aside from the common cold and cough, I had never been sick to the point of being admitted to a hospital. I was a powerful person. I was patient and could go for a long time without sleeping. Maybe it was because of the power of caffeine that I added every day. But why was I feeling so weak right now? Before I was in this loop, I wasn't like this. When I pretended to faint in front of the conference room, it was a fake, but this was real. I fell in front of the nurses and patients in the emergency room 10 minutes after midnight. I opened my eyes to the ceiling with a dizzy feeling. I could still hear the familiar turmoil around me. It was just that I was the one who was on the bed instead of a patient. The chief resident was trusted by everyone in the emergency room. Because of the low pressure, my arm was already attached to the IV tube. I turned to look at the bed next to me, which was an uncle who looked thin. He was also staring at me as if shocked to see a doctor in this state. The lab result is out, sir. Gap walked to my bed with a chart. Your piece so dark. The kidney function is not very good. Have you eaten or drunk some water? What the fuck? I reached over and grabbed the chart from Gap to read my lab results. You should sleep here in the hospital. Let me give you saline and watch your kidney condition for another day. Gap reached out and squeezed my shoulder. Hia, can I say something? Yesterday and today, your face looks like a corpse. What happened? I raised my hand and massaged my temples. I'm just stressed. Gap sighed. It's the research, right? I think you shouldn't overdo it. Look at Singh. He has to hand in the full research soon. Now, but he can still go out and chill at the tavern. Okay, I replied. It's better for Gap to think I'm stressed about research than stressed about heartbreak from a boy. If I'm admitted, then who will be on duty? Stop worrying about work. Let me talk to the professor for you. I closed my eyes to suppress my dizziness. Okay, thanks. Half an hour later, I was sent to sleep in a special single room because of the to the treatment of the government officials. As soon as the lights in the room turned off, it was as if my strong body was protesting. It was punishing me for years of sleep deprivation and for letting my stress beset to the point that I finally broke. I was startled by the sound of the door opening that sounded like a thunder strike. I turned to look at the person who opened the door with a little resentment. Nurse Ames' grimace entered my field of vision, followed by Toy and Gap. Everyone was carrying bags of sweets and fruits, which seemed like a patient treatment. I squinted my eyes at the light and turned to look at the clock. It was now 8 o'clock in the morning, the time when everyone changed their shifts. Dr. Tane! I heard Toy's sound first. The nurse's face was filled with concern. Do you know how to be sick like normal people? Ames said to me in a harsh tone. Hey, I was the sick one here, and she still followed me here to scold me. Why isn't there a girl to watch over you? This is not fun at all, Gap said cheerfully. I saw Toy and Aim turn around and look at each other without saying anything. The others will come here after this. Don't be sad. I felt more refreshed after receiving saline and getting some rest. Now I just had to wait for the results of the blood test this morning. If my kidney recovered from dehydration, there would be no reason to stay in the hospital anymore. What I did next was to call my mother and tell her I was hospitalized now. I had to endure 10 minutes of my mother's complaint before she could calm down. I had never been so sick that I had to go to the hospital, so I understood that my mother was shocked. While waiting for the blood results, I lay in bed playing with my phone. Sometimes I watched TV shows when I was bored. The downside of being single and away from home was that no one was there to look after you. I opened Facebook and went to see Doll's profile for the hundredth time. He must be going out having fun with Mai now. Maybe he was thinking of a plan to surprise her and ask her to become his girlfriend. Thinking about it hurts me. I turned off the screen of my phone and lay down tiredly. I woke up again when I heard a knock on the door. I leaned forward and sat up and looked at the time. It was almost 1 in the afternoon now. My blood test results should probably be out by now. I turned to look at the visitors. I expected it was a nurse or a team of residents who had gathered to visit me, but the visitor was only a man. He was carrying a large bird's nest basket. His expression seemed reluctant to come. I blinked at the popular gift for a patient before looking at the face of the person who brought it to me. We stayed silent for a while, not saying anything. Mom told me to come and visit. Tall finally spoke, as I was stunned as if I was cursed. End of Loop 10. Visiting.